Hello ladies and gentlemen and welcome back to the ESL R1 Runners Cup brought to you by RENNSPORT on this beautiful channel. And today we have round number 2 in this championship, and today we are also joined by another guest in the commentary booth who will probably be more permanent, because I'm not only joined by Remco Major.
Hello.
We are also joined by the beautiful voice of Tim Ireland.
Hello.
So I think that's the first time we are a 3-part team. We are basically like a certain British model magazine. And yeah, it certainly looks very interesting for today here at Orchard. It's a new track on the ESL calendar, since it was released after the first 2 ESL R1 seasons. And as you've seen last time, this race will also be shown tomorrow in the official competition, while we are in practice. And Remco, what do you expect for this race after Daytona last week?
I mean, Daytona was a high-speed track, a lot of straights, a lot of drafting. You've seen almost bump drafting. At least in ESL R1 it was almost bump drafting. Over here it was apparently allowed, so bump drafting did happen, and it gave for a very interesting race. But this time I doubt we will see any bump drafting. Orchard Road, as we know, is a street course. It has a very very few straights, and the walls are closed, so it will be very hard to do any form of bump drafting. And in the race, of course, qualifying is going to be key. As in the race, there is hardly any opportunity to overtake, although we have seen an RCE, a RENNSPORT community event, or was it? I don't even know if it was the event or of the league, where we drove here with the GT3s on this track, which also had some participants like Tim Schreuder. So, and over there, it definitely showed that it is possible to overtake, but you need a lot of balls doing it.
Yeah, and we are now heading into qualifying, so you'll be right back with footage for you as soon as we get going. This is of course the ESL R1 format, so we have a flying qualifying lap. So each driver will go on their own as the drivers now get ready for qualifying.
So, bets on who's gonna get pole. I personally still think it's going to be Nico Nunninghoff, because like Ottaviano, who was here last week, isn't here right now. So it will be quite hard for the other drivers to get to Nico Nunninghoff. So what do you guys think?
I think it's very interesting because we certainly have a few esport level guys. And yeah, especially Flavio, for example, could be like a dark horse.
And Tim, do you think that there is a possibility of something interesting here?
I don't know. I mean, last week we saw Nico kind of dominating from the beginning, and I think if he gets a decent qualifying lap, the chances of him walking away from it are definitely there. But I'm not sure. There's quite a few other fast guys in there, and hopefully they can take him more to a race than they did at Daytona.
Meanwhile, we get going now. Leon Leopold, the first one to go on a flying lap in the BMW. Let's follow him around for this lap. Coming
And
down to turn one.
I saw him be a little bit loose in the practice session at some points. The BMW is quite hard, and it looks. Oh, and there he goes. He actually goes around. Did he actually gave up?
It
So
seems
he
like he escaped,
definitely-
yeah.
Yeah, so he definitely will be starting last. You only have one chance in this qualifying, and this is something that can happen to other drivers as well. So I would have continued if I was him, but it looks like he's gonna be starting last.
Meanwhile, we got a guess from Joachim Thunder in the chat, who says not of course Joachim Thunder, because unfortunately he can't race today due to private circumstances, but he says Dominic will win.
Yeah,
Interesting.
exactly. Dominic Ladler, also quite well known in the community events. He is quick. But is he Nico Nuninghoff quick? I don't know. But a mistake is easily made here, and we already saw someone make a mistake. The walls are close, and it's quite hard to actually, do the perfect lap here. So maybe Nico Nuninghoff is gonna take it a bit more, on the safe side, and someone else is gonna push a little bit more. But it looks like the first times are soon to be set. A quick lap time is in the 1 minute 11s. So keep that in mind. It's Robin Schatzle who is the first to cross the line in a 1:12.9. That is not very quick, but you only have one shot. It's not like in the pre-qualifying where you can just spam hot laps and hope that you get a good lap. Nico Nuninghoff is the next driver up. Let's see what kind of pace he's gonna put down. And he's crossing the line now in a 1:11.2. Yeah, that's gonna be hard to beat, I think.
It's only 1.5 of his lap time in the qualifiers. For context, Schätzle put it down in 1:12.1, so 1/10 quicker than he did now in this qualifying session.
Yep. Let's see what the other drivers are going to put down. Gertjan van Osch is the next one who's gonna put down a lap time. A new name. I haven't seen him drive yet. And a 1:12.8, which is second place in front of Robin Schatzl. Yeah, I mean, there was going to be a bit more field spread. Nico Nuninghoff, of course, is a very good driver and is very good at driving on the limit. The other drivers might have a little bit less experience and just take a bit more safe. At least it didn't spin out, so that's a plus. And right now it's Martin Merguli who is going over the finish line in 1:11.6, which is only 4/10 off of Nico Nuninghoff. That is actually quite a good time.
He was quite strong in Daytona, if I remember correctly. He was fighting for the P456 with one of the other AMGs. Meanwhile, we are watching the lone Audi in this race, driven by Alex Mosen, who wasn't as lucky last time over in America. Drifting through the final turn.
Is he gonna get to the 1:11s? Yes, he is. 1:11.9. That is a very solid lap. That puts him into third. Let's see what the other drivers are gonna do. We still have Dominic Ladder and Tim Schreuder coming up. So, and Flavio. Okay, I'm not gonna try to pronounce that name. I was going for it, but no. I'm just going to see.
Well, Flavio, I think, could be very good in this race. He's proven himself in the PCCD, but not the best qualifying lap time here.
I mean, he has to do a lot of overtaking if he wants to do a good race. So that will definitely make for an interesting race if he actually will do good there.
So you've got to commit, make an overtake work here, haven't you? But
yeah,
you never know. You also get the problem with the shuffle when somebody tries to go for an overtake and then a bunch of people go past them. We have a lot of tight pack racing here, so you might be able to gain a few places that way.
And it's Dominic Ladler over the line. 1:12.0. It's fourth place, just not in the 1:11s, but solid. And as you say, there are opportunities in the race. If some people start fighting and people start defending and go offline, that's the moment where you can actually attack. And that's something that Dominic Ladler definitely will need if he actually uses his experience in the races, because he has done quite a few. But yeah, it's exactly as you say, Tim. It is possible, but you need to profit from maybe someone else's mistake or someone else fighting.
Yeah, and it's just as easy for it to happen in front of you and work in reverse, and you end up losing out for no fault of your own.
By the way, Tim Schreuder is in fourth place with a 1:11.96. So he put him right in between Mosin and Ladler, which is a very small gap. So it's going to be tight in the middle pack.
Yeah, so I want to mention just how how good the spread of cars is. We have a BMW in front, followed by a Mercedes, followed by an Audi, followed by another BMW, followed by a Porsche. We have all 4 different manufacturers in the top 5. As Mark Edmondson will be the last one across the line. And he puts it in 6th.
That's still very slow. 112.5 still very solid time. But it will be in the bottom half of the field. If you want to do moves, you will need to make some risky moves. And we will see. There's a short practice session in between so people can get accustomed to the race pace. What do you guys think will happen this race? Will there be a lot of fighting, or are people gonna stand back and just grab points?
It's a very short race. I think the racing kind of mentality takes over, and I think people are going to start making moves. Maybe not in the first couple of laps, but once they get going, I think the racing instincts will start kicking in, and people will want to be further up the grid.
Yeah, it's possible that it's gonna be like be attack or attack. You know, if you're not gonna attack, you will be under pressure from behind instantly. Definitely, if you are in the top half where the pace is really close together, it's gonna be hard, like, not to do anything, because you'll either put pressure on people or people will put pressure on you. And with this tire model, which in 1.8.3 has come in, it's also going to be on the limit driving. So when you are pushing, try to push the guy ahead into a mistake, because if you start oversteering, it is quite hard to catch these cars now. It's not as simple as like a simple counter steer or steer a bit more and it just goes around the corner. No, you have to counter steer and get the car in a straight line. So those moments will definitely happen, and when that happens with a train of cars behind you, it is going to be very interesting, to say the least.
I think most drivers are also not in position to actually think about points here. They're just here to prove themselves, to show a good result for them. Many of them haven't driven Daytona, so they are down on points to the likes of Nüninghoff, to the likes of Ladler, who participated last time around. So I don't think in that position you'd really think about, I can bank some points and fight for the championship. They are fighting for results here.
Oh, definitely. They want to be in the spotlight. Nico Nüninghoff is the only one who can just grab on points, but I don't think he is gonna end up in 2nd place for any other reason than making a mistake.
I mean, that's not how Nüninghoff works, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, he's just stupid quick. It's I have actually raced against him, and even I can't keep up with him.
I keep up with him all the time, Renko. I don't know what your problem is.
I mean, he catches up to you when you get left, probably.
That counts.
So, we are ready. The lights are slowly turning on.
Can hear the engines coming up to life. And we go racing at Orchard for round number 2 in the ESL R1 Runners-Up Cup, and it's good start from Nico Nüninghoff.
It's a very good start for Nico Nüninghoff, and behind it is 3 wide for a little bit, and they are right now getting into position. Looks like Alex Moset and Tim Schreuder actually, like gained a position.
Oh, and that's a BMW.
And Tim is going around. Oh dear, that is not good, but it does mean Alex Moset gained a position. Who is losing out on that? It's Tim Schreuder, who lost 5 positions because of that, instead of winning one. So he lost 6 positions because he got touched. I did not really see what actually happened there, and that's something to be reviewed after the race. But looks Alex Santana gained 3 positions during the start. Robin Schatzel, who of course started behind Tim Schreuder, actually gained 2 positions. Someone already DNF'd. This is going down, and right now it looks like stuff will die down a little bit because of the spin. We will see if Tim Schreuder can fight back, because he's right behind Robin Schatzel right now. But ahead it's Nico Nuninghoff, who is safe and sound, way ahead of the field.
Yeah, I think everyone lost out there where Nico Nuninghoff got such a big gap at the beginning. He's got to be rubbing his hands at that.
Yeah, that's one advantage of starting up in the front, is that you won't get into the mess of like people battling, people touching each other. Like, it's an advantage, and he used it greatly. I mean, there's also partially luck involved for drivers in the middle field, but it's going to be interesting to see what actually happened there, and we probably won't be able to show that during the stream.
It looked a bit like just a squeeze between the two cars, and Timothy Schroeder, or Tim Schroeder, just being the victim of that. But it's very hard to tell from that angle. It's very crowded in 2 turns 1 and 2, especially with the grid is that close.
And definitely on a street track. I mean, there is no way to go off. There's no way, if you're 3 wide and you're on the outside, to go towards a runoff and not have to turn around, do a 5-point turn to get out of the runoff area. There's just no runoff area, and it showed here. And it looks like Dominic Ladler is up the rear of Santana, and he is actually on the straight doing a fairly simple overtake looks, but he breaks early.
It was not as straightforward. Santana was in the wall, exiting the right-hander into the last sector.
And what happened there is that Dominic Ladler actually drove a defensive line to avoid a counterattack, and with that outbraked himself and went towards the wall. And it looks like there was an AMG backward, but I think that is a back marker. Who is that?
No, it's Edmondson. He was in 4th.
Wait, Edmondson? Yes.
Edmondson is around.
He lost so many positions with that. What happened to him? He likely just spun around, because that's what is said right at the beginning of the stream. This tire model, it is not as simple as just turning a little bit more or just counter-steering a simple bit. You actually have to get out of the throttle and actually catch the car. And it's a tough job, definitely with the AMG, which is very front-end heavy. So if the rear goes, I mean, good luck.
Meanwhile, Tim Schreider, through all of this, up into P7, and he's with the train for P4.
Is Dominic Ladler behind Santana again? He's actually shaping up for another move, and actually gets in front again and gets small tap. There was contact there. And into this turn, and another piece of contact. He's not happy, he's flashing his lights. That is actually getting a little bit feisty out there. It's good to see, but please keep it clean.
Oh, there's also Schätzle in there with a bit of an oversteer moment into turn 3.
And that means that Tim Schroeder is right behind him. This is a very hard turn to do an overtake though. So can he do something? No, I mean, that's smart to stay behind. As I said, Tim Schroeder is still gaining experience with wheel-to-wheel racing. And you actually see him making progress here, because I think like 2 weeks ago you would have seen him try and make a move there and outbrake himself.
Yeah, he's definitely improving as he gets more experience in the wheel-to-wheel racing. And with a circuit like Orchard Road, with the walls and how close it is, you need to set up for a move a couple of turns ahead, really, unless someone makes a big mistake.
Exactly. Mark Edmondson has DNF'd. He went to the pits. He is done. So that means that there are only 9 drivers left in this race.
Oh, fight for P2. Alex Mosen against Margurley. Margurley down the inside of Mosen in turn 3 and actually finishes the move quite quickly.
Oh, I almost missed that. That is a very good textbook move. Quite easy it looked like. I'm still looking at like Dominic Ladler being behind Alex Santana. Santana, who by the way has gained 4 positions compared to his starting position. Is he gonna be able to keep Ladler behind, and will Ladler be able to keep his cool behind him? Or is Ladler might try to overdrive a little bit to like overtake him? And that is very easy to make a mistake if you do that.
I mean, Ladler and Orchard Road didn't have the best relation at times. I remember the Mission R race we had in the RCE a couple of weeks back.
Too.
So that wasn't his best race, let's say, so far. But on the other hand, the RCL went pretty good for him.
I remember that race because I won that one.
That's a weird flex.
Yeah, I'm just flexing, I know.
I think Ladler was in the community league race here as well, wasn't he?
Yes, he actually was, and I won that one as well.
I set you up for that one, didn't I?
Well, that's why you're not driving today, Remco.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not allowed to drive because I'm too quick. That's the only reason why Nico Nunninghoff is running away with the lead right now, because I'm not driving. No, that's a complete joke, because I would not have the pace at all. I think I would even have like problems getting up to Magurli. Let's not take away from his pace that he is having. That all these drivers here are very quick, otherwise you don't qualify into this. And right now it's just going to, I mean, it's just gonna be like Wu's gonna make moves and Wu is just gonna stick behind. Dominic Ladler, of course, already had his fair share of interesting battles with Santana. And he's still right behind. Can he set up for a move again? The draft is quite strong. But I doubt he can come from that far behind. I think Dominic Ladler, out of frustration, overheated his tires a bit, because his pace has died down a little bit. He drove pretty much the exact same lap time as Santana, whilst before he was much quicker.
Mark Edmondson, by the way, in the Discord chat, which you should check out if you have access to the beta as well, said he will be back for the next race, even though he didn't state the reason what happened in this race, which would be very interesting to know. Meanwhile, Tim Schroeder having a slight touch with the wall here. But it's good to see that he will be back next time.
Yes, never give up, I would say, because just like Tim Schroeder, he will gain experience from this, and he definitely has the speed to get into the qualifiers, and he definitely has the speed to get. I mean, I think he was in up in the top half as well when he spun.
Yeah, indeed, he also qualified, I think 5th or 6th. Meanwhile, Dominic Ladler made his way up into 4th, and we completely missed that.
Oh yeah, I mean, I was just about to say, like, when were the two cars in between Dominic Ladler and Tim Schroeder, but he just made a move. Where did he do that?
Must have been somewhere in Sector 1.
Yes, but that's not a conventional place to do it, I think, because I would have seen it.
Oh, Dominic Ladler loses the rear in turn 2.
Oh dear. No, Dominic. He really doesn't like Orchard Road, I think.
He's just gonna. Oh, he's got a fairly big straight, so his tyres might cool down a bit, but he's gonna have to be careful because they'll be pretty hot after that.
Yeah, definitely. As I said, he might have overheated his tires a little bit, trying to overtake, and maybe it was just a tad too much. The Porsche is one of the harder cars on the tires, I think, as far as I've tested them. But yeah, that's a real shame, because he was doing really well and actually making moves and going forward.
Meanwhile, it's just, Joachim Thunder just, like, literally 10 seconds prior sending, if he doesn't make mistakes. So, maybe that's like the commentator's curse from the YouTube live chat.
Yeah, I mean, let's see if he can actually get back past Flavio again, 2C. But I doubt he will be able to catch up to Tim Schroeder. Tim Schroeder, who is second after that spin, actually is not making a lot of moves. He's just staying behind, flashing his lights, by the way, which I'm seeing on my screen. You're not seeing that on the stream right now. But it looks like he wants to get past, but he doesn't know where or how yet.
That's the tricky thing with Orchard Road, isn't it? It's not enough to be faster, you have to know how to get past someone as well.
Exactly, and as you can see, he definitely has got the pace, and Schatzel is actually driving defensive lines. Right here, I mean, he's not even trying to defend here because it's really hard. He actually runs wide there.
Yeah.
So he definitely is under pressure, and don't forget, as I said, they are driving on the limit right now, and mistake is easily made. And you can see that there, he just ran a little bit wide, and Tim Schroeder was so much closer because of it. And you can actually see him oversteer onto the straight. Tim Schreuder had a bad exit, but that would have been one of the opportunities for Tim to actually set up an overtake.
We have 3 laps left to go in this race, so there's still quite a big amount of time left to do an overtake. Even though it's sometimes very hard to pull off the overtake, you have quite a lot of opportunities. If your opponent just gives a bit, you can take it.
Yep, I saw that one. I was a little bit earlier on that because I saw it on my screen. I'm a little bit in front of the mainstream, but that was an oversteer moment from Tim Schreuder. Let's keep it at that, but well held. And as I said, he has had I'm at a loss of words, but he had a few spins before in a earlier series, like in the RC. I think he also had like an oversteer moment and spun actually. I'm not completely sure on that, but I've seen him spin, but he has learned from it. He starts to learn how to get that car in a straight line, which, by the way, the BMW is quite hard to do. I know that.
Meanwhile, Dominic Ladler is now close to Flavio. Setting up for a move into turn 1.
And it looks like a normal outbreaker maneuver, and actually a little bit of contact. They're keeping it in a straight line though, but that's a good thing about RENNSPORT. The contact model and the netcode is so well made. You can have a bit of contact without too much of a consequence. But still, if you hit each other in the wrong way, it can be disastrous. But it wasn't this time, and that is a good move from Dominic Ladler.
And meanwhile, Mark Edmondson in chat confirming what we suspected. Pushing too hard in turn 3, and then due to the spinning tires overheating it and not getting them cooled down again. So, yeah, and he also says it didn't happen to him previously, and that just shows these races, they are, well, a big load on the driver's shoulders. You have to push a lot to keep up with the guys in front, of course, but that also can lead to mistakes. Very unfortunate, but good to hear that he will be back next time around.
Yes, I definitely wish him the best for next time. I just want to talk about the pace that Nico Nuninghoff is driving. He's driving 1:11.4 the last lap. The lap before he did his best lap. And that was a 1:11.200. Isn't that quicker than his qualifying time?
It is quicker than it is as quick as the qualifying time, I think. And it's very close to the one he did in the qualifier session yesterday, which was an 11.075. But remember, on the qualifier session, I think you have tire reset on each lap.
Yes. What I also want to mention is that Martin Marguli is actually this last lap driving quicker than Nico Nuninghoff. I mean, that's definitely not a slow driver at all. He's still in the 1:11.6s actually right now, so a little bit slower. But they're not slow. From 3rd down to P7, they are all in the 1:12s. So actually driving really close lap times as well. That's how level the playing field is in there, and how hard it will be for Dominic Ladler to actually get back to the rear of Tim Schreuder. Although Dominic Ladler put down a 1:11.8, he is putting down lap times. I guess he wants revenge.
But we are in the meantime on the final lap, and Nico Nuninghoff is approaching the final sector. So Tim Schreuder, if he wants to get past into 5th, this would already be a big improvement to Daytona for him. But if he wants to get into 5th, he doesn't really have many chances going for him. But it's Nico Nuninghoff who will turn in for the last 2 turns now.
That's a beautiful drive from Nico Nuninghoff, who will take the 2nd win in a row for this ESL Runners-Up Cup. And in 2nd, Martin Marguli, who also drove a very solid race. Kept it out of trouble. Was not able to challenge Nico. But he drove a very good race.
Mosen holding up the flag for Audi here to take the last podium finish. And it's Santana in front of Schätzle, Tim Schreuder and Dominic Ladler in the fight for 4th.
Dominic Ladler got close.
Indeed.
He got really close. A lot closer than I expected him to be. Definitely after having burned up your tires because of a spin. Gertjan van Os, by the way. Also, he was a bit silent this race. He had, I think, a bit of trouble in the beginning of the race, but
he was also caught out big time in
yeah.
that T2 wreck, so...
Exactly, but he is at least going to finish the race, which is already better than some of the other drivers, like Mark Edmondson. We will see him back as well next time, which is good, and it was a good race.
Indeed, so there is your round number 2 wrapped, and of course there are still 4 more to go. So championship is still wide open for Nico Nuninghoff. It's looking very good. After Daytona and Orca now, you have seen both the races, Remco.
Yes.
Who do you think would be the closest challenger to Nico Nuninghoff?
From this race, it's definitely Martin Marguli, because Ottaviani hasn't participated this time around. Ottaviani is a very quick driver, but I'm not sure why he is not trying, because he was actually challenging Nico Nuninghoff, and he's just letting it go. So for now, I think it's Martin Marguli who is the closest competitor to Nico Nuninghoff. Although Dominic Latter actually showed really good race pace after a spin, so I am not sure when he's ever going to like utilize that pace, but he might get up way higher in the future. But so yeah, I'm gonna keep it at Martin Marguli. If he can get like a little bit better pace out there, maybe practices a bit more, he can actually get up to the rear of Nico Nuninghoff.
Do you also want to add to that, Tim?
Yeah, I mean, I think Maguli was doing really well today, and early on in the race, there was him and Mersin, I think it was, fight, and they were basically keeping the same gap to Nuninghoff. So I don't know whether he was maybe taking it easy or maybe they were pushing each other a bit harder. But then they started fighting, and the gap just grew exponentially until there was a gap between Maguli and Mersin. And then, to be honest, Maguli kept it fairly consistent. I mean, he was a little bit slower, but the gap didn't grow a lot after that. So,
no, it was around 2/10 a lap. He was slower, so that's why I said if he can get a little bit extra pace out there, he is there.
I mean, he also didn't have the greatest qualifying respecting his pace. So if he can get those 2 spots higher on the grid with a bit better qualifying lap, maybe this would look completely different as well. Because Nico Nuninghoff was from the start just able to basically cruise through, keep his tires cool, and be consistent.
Yeah, the incident at the beginning was pretty much a dream start for Nico. He must have been pretty happy when that happened.
We weren't, because we didn't get a fight for the lead.
That's
Not
true.
this time, but maybe next time. So should be next week. And
where will we be next week, Lino?
You want to know where we will be? I can tell you that. Because next time...
You have to look it up, right?
No. we will be in Monza, and that will be very interesting. Monza, the temple of speed. We've seen bump drafting in Daytona. We also have very long straights at Monza. We have seen close fights through slow corners in Orchard now. So
yeah.
Monza basically combines that into one track. It will be very interesting. I can assure you that. So
it's definitely a track that they all know pretty well as well.
Indeed.
I mean, who doesn't know Monza? It's only like 5 turns anyway.
Yeah. Whereas Orchard Road is a bit more of a wild card. It's not one that people have driven as much as the many thousands of laps of Monza you've probably done over your sim racing career.
Indeed, it will be very interesting. It will also be interesting to see the ESL R1 drivers do it tomorrow in the official ESL R1. But what will also be exciting is our RENNSPORT community event tomorrow. It will be at 8 p.m. as usual. And it will be the newly released hypercars at Fuji, which is also a newly released track. And so far, we had a few testing sessions with those cars in the closed beta program. and they have been a lot of fun. So make sure to tune in for that one. And you will see a short trailer as well before we end the stream, but after we say goodbye, because we hope you enjoyed today. And see you next time around. Until then, have a great time. Goodbye. You can also say goodbye if you want to.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Get it on, never slip through my fingers.